Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the country. Now you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of over there? Because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They say this all the time. They talk down to us. They think we're just a bunch of clowns on YouTube, Twitter. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing ever, then please let me know. If you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing, then also let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and it's turning into something truly, truly special. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing that. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of First Things First, talking about none other than the Chiefs versus the Ravens. The question is can the Chiefs win without a big game from Patrick Mahomes? I didn't see this clip, but when I was kind of queuing it up, I could, see the kind of screenshots or thumbnail of what it is. And I guess the argument is going to be about the Chiefs defense. And I saw this one graphic that I'm really excited to pick apart. So let's just jump right into it. Like I said, I didn't see the clip, but I was able to see a section of it. So as I was setting this video up to record, my mind's already thinking. So let's just jump right into it.
3-2 career record in AFC
right
Championship games. 1 loss to Brady, 1 loss to Burrow. Could Lamar be the third QB on the list? Well, not if Mahomes plays, honestly, just fine.
What kind of picture is
League
that?
average passer rating is 90-ish. His career average, 103, second best ever. But Brew, if he just has a regular game, not like below average for him, 80 or above, they've won every time. So the question is...
Okay, real fast. This is actually not the graphic, but let's look at this. The Bears are not good. Minnesota, not good. Broncos, not good. Chargers, not good. Dolphins were clearly never, that special, which we've already established in previous videos. The Raiders, not good. The Patriots, not good. The Bengals have a backup quarterback and one of the worst defenses in the NFL. And as we've already established, the Dolphins and then the Bills lost that game more than the Chiefs beat them. So tell me where that's impressive at all. Please tell me where any of those games. Please tell me where the Ravens, any team that's equivalent to the Ravens or the 49ers, where is that exactly? No argument.
Can Kansas City win without a big game from Patrick Mahomes?
That graphic is useless.
I'm not saying he has to go historic for him, because historic for him is crazy. But he has to have a great game. I disagree with Nick. Baltimore is going to score. I think the Chiefs are going to have to go about 30 points or more to win this game.
So Baltimore's going to set the season high for points scored against the Chiefs.
They're the best team the Chiefs have played.
Sure. No,
Chiefs
no,
have
I'm
not faced anything close to Baltimore.
No, that's totally. I'm just
because everything
not necessarily
they
faced
Miami,
but
Baltimore beat them by 37. All right, they didn't play Buffalo, but Baltimore destroyed. They played Detroit. Detroit beat y'all by a point. Baltimore beat them by 32. Sure. I mean, you haven't seen the likes of this, all right? 9 of their last 11 games in which they played the starters. So I threw out the last game of the season, all right? They've scored more than 30 points in 9 of their last 11.
Pretty good.
And even including the games they didn't score 30, they've averaged 34 points a game over the last 11. 6 of those opponents are playoff teams. Like, they're scoring. So Mahomes is going to have to be Mahomes.
And
He's going to have to have
against
30 or more points. I know he hasn't had to yet.
The Ravens defense
but I don't
is too
think
good.
that defense, again, I was not impressed. I was impressed with the victory by the Chiefs. I wasn't impressed with the defense.
Okay, well, so then, Hubs, can we just switch the order real quick? Can we just show the Chiefs' second half defense over the last 2 months?
This is the graphic. That's
the idea,
just garbage.
like this is a weird thing that's going on, which is,
let's look at this. Okay. The Bills, we've already established that the Bills issue first off, they lost that game in week 14 against the Bills. The Patriots, what are we talking about here? Bailey Zappi, Mac Jones, a terrible offense, and with Bill Belichick, who's now fired, okay? That is not impressive. The Raiders, okay, with a fired head coach, brand new head coach, and a quarterback who may not even be in the league, but not a starter. Not impressive. And is that the game that they ended up losing? Was that the Christmas Day game where they lost, where they looked awful again? So I don't know why you're using that as a reference point, right? And then the Bengals, again, they had a backup quarterback who completely turned into a pumpkin not even just that game, but a game before, maybe 2 games before. So again, not impressive at all. The Chiefs also could have lost that game if that quarterback play was better. Then they played a Chargers with, again, backup quarterback. Herbert's not playing. They're just giving up and all that. Then they played the Dolphins, which again, that team was never special. The Dolphins only beat bad teams. They only beat one team with the winning record, and that was the Cowboys. And the Cowboys lost that game more than the Dolphins won that game. And it was freezing cold, and we've already established, and even Nick pointed this out before, but then conveniently wants to forget about it, is that Tua and the Dolphins, they knew it was going to be difficult for them in the freezing cold weather, because it was especially something that Tua had never experienced before, and that they're definitely more designed to be an indoor team or just a warm climate team rather than an outdoor. That's one of the reasons why Nick was like, the Dolphins have no chance. But now he wants to act like it's impressive that the Dolphins couldn't really score when we knew that that was going to be the case anyway. The Bills is technically the biggest argument, but again, the Bills would have had more points. They would have had at least 14 points if it wasn't for these dropped passes. So again, enough with this nonsense. This is not impressive. There's nothing impressive about shutting out the Patriots and the Raiders and the Bengals and the Chargers and the Dolphins. Like, what are you talking about? So he's acting like this is like such a like checkmate. And there's just nothing checkmate about that. If their 49ers were in there, I would say, okay. If it was the Cowboys even, I would say, okay. If it was Detroit, if it was, I don't know, let's just name any actual good, competent teams that were playing well at the time, I would say, okay, this is not impressive to me.
People are just finding reasons to not believe what they see.
Nick, Patriots, Raiders,
how about
Bengals without Joe Burrow, Chargers without Justin Herbert. I'm supposed to be impressed by that?
What about last week against the team you thought was going to beat them?
Oh, they played well, like I said, but they got run on like crazy.
Right,
they ran up. They gave
the
up
Bills
182
dropped the
yards.
passes.
Dropped the banner for it. They scored 7 points. They
won by 3, 27-24.
I get it. I get it. Listen, it's just a difference of opinion. If you were not impressed by the Chiefs' defense last Sunday, then I don't know what to tell you. And what I do know what to tell you is what Mahomes has done in his career against Baltimore. And it's not this year, but Baltimore, every year except for one, has had a top 3 scoring defense that Mahomes has played them, okay? Every year of Lamar's career, they've been first, second, or third scoring defense except for one season. Patrick averages 370 passing yards, 120 rating. And
what's the difference about this right now? There's 2 key, really big differences, okay? One, these are 2 different teams. This is a different Chiefs team and a different Ravens team, okay? So it makes no sense to compare these numbers. It wasn't the same Lamar Jackson, which I know isn't necessarily the most relevant thing, but it does play a factor because offense does influence defense and defense does influence offense. You have to see were there turnovers, were there extra possessions, what was the time of possession, was the defense really tired, right? There's all of these other things. So it's not completely just separate, right? Special teams affects offense and defense, field position, all of these things. And again, I'm not going back and digging these numbers because it doesn't matter to me, because I don't care what happened last year or the year before or the year before. It means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing to me. So the biggest thing is the Chiefs were a better offensive team against those defenses in the past of the Ravens because they had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce in their prime, Patrick Mahomes. Like they had these connections that they don't have this year. The Chiefs' offense was so much more potent in years past, which is undeniable just by the eye test or the concrete stats. Like even Nick has admitted that. So to use these previous numbers is just silly. It really, really is. Why are you going to also use numbers with Tyreek Hill there? Is Tyreek Hill there now? He is not. So it's just silly. It really, really is. Not to mention this Ravens defense is even better than they were. So not only now when you're comparing this record to this year, the Chiefs defense, the Chiefs offense has gotten worse, and the Ravens defense has gotten better. So you're most likely not going to see these numbers.
And it's the most ever by any quarterback against any opponent.
That's past history, man. Who was the top receiver on those teams? Every single one of those games.
What? No, it's not true. McCole Hardman had the biggest game.
No, I'm talking about who was on the team. Who was the best receiver on the Chiefs?
Oh, okay. Tyreek Hill was
every single one of those games.
Exactly.
He was on
even
the
if
team.
he didn't kill in that game, you had to worry about him. He was a threat.
That's exactly right. Which is why it's really good they don't need a big game.
And Travis Kelce in his prime.
I can tell you exactly what they need in this game. It's a little 5-point plan. Can I show it to you?
Oh, wow.
We can do a little countdown. Show it to you if you would. 4 sacks of Lamar Jackson, which they will
Christmas
get.
Carol.
3 big Mahomes throws. You don't need a half dozen. You don't need a bunch.
That would count as a really good game. 3 big throws.
No, I thought I know you don't think.
I'm not talking about
against
15
the Bills.
yards across the middle.
I understand.
What's a big throw?
What?
Big Mahomes throw.
Like the play to MVS. To open the second half.
Okay.
Well, he had that against Buffalo. He had 3, and you didn't think he had a really big.
Exactly. He didn't play great.
2 back-breaking Mahomes scrambles.
Check.
Just 1 defensive pass interference on Snead. I'm just baking in 1. Let's not have multiple. Snead's going to get handsy, and then 0 Mahomes turnovers, which is what you're going to get. And so that's the recipe. They don't need. This is the point I've been trying to make, Brew. They built a team so he doesn't have to be Superman, knowing he can be. So he just needs to take the cape off a few times in a game that this defense has allowed more than 30 points in a game once in 35 games. Like
they have not faced the likes of this. They haven't. Every big team that y'all played, that Baltimore played, Baltimore crushed.
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, you can talk about, like I said, that graphic you showed where they shut down the Chargers and they shut down the Patriots. That's irrelevant compared to this.
No, I was more focused on what they did in the 2 playoff games against a Miami offense that everyone loved all year and a Bills team that smart people were picking.
Chilly.
We knew Miami would struggle against anybody in cold weather.
Here's what the Chiefs, though, had for the Bills game.
I don't think you saw this.
They had bulletin board material.
Mm-hmm. Lots of it.
They had lots of it.
I see.
And the Ravens have been very smart in not giving the Chiefs bulletin board material. True. But, Brew, did you see Patrick Mahomes' personal Instagram this morning?
I didn't.
Because he made a post this morning. Can we play it for the audience? Here's Mahomes' post. Sound up, please.
Is that actually true?
I swear to God.
I know it probably hurt you because I'm a big fan of Patrick Mahomes.
Dusty,
I'm the first to call him Jordan-esque,
listen,
but I got to tell the truth.
We got to put it on the board. What? We got to put it on.
That's a shame. I don't know what the clip was. I'll have to look it up. It looks like maybe it's something to do with Broussard or it's a joke. I don't really know. I don't know why they cut that from the. That's silly. But yeah, I mean, listen. I think what Brew is saying is 100% correct. And I actually honestly believe that every single thing that Nick Wright is saying here is just fundamentally flawed. And I think I've already outlined that all for you. It's just so obvious that the Ravens are a significantly better team than any of the teams that the Chiefs have been playing. And Nick is trying to build off of these other games that either just completely don't matter. What you do against the Chargers with a backup quarterback is just silly to even use that even remotely as a reference point. And again, he's like, he wants to, point out the Dolphins, which again, they knew they were going to struggle in the cold. They knew. He kept also pointing out, Nick Wright kept pointing out that Tua doesn't play big in big games. He said that a million times, no matter who it was, whether it was against the Chiefs or against another team. So he believed. So if he wants to, everyone was saying that the Dolphins are this great, offense. He didn't believe it though. And rightfully so, because the Dolphins feasted on bad teams. And when it was time to play actual good competitive teams, they didn't look too good, did they? And we saw that. And that was very, very, very obvious. So it's just silly. I mean, it really, really is. So I don't really get any of his arguments because they're just built in delusion and not reality. And these are the things that end up haunting you come time playoffs when the margins of error get smaller and smaller and smaller. And the Ravens, if they actually do what they need to do and actually don't let the moment get to the best of them, because that's actually the biggest argument to me. The biggest argument as to why you think the Chiefs can win this game has nothing to do with any of the other stuff. It all has to come down to, do the Ravens have the experience and the nerves of steel to be able to handle this moment, to be able to handle adversity? Will Lamar Jackson get crushed under the pressure? Again, I'm not saying that he will, but I'm just saying technically we've never seen it, so we don't know. right? For all we know, Lamar Jackson is a complete spaz when the pressure gets this high like this. Again, not saying that's what's going to happen, but we have no idea. We have no idea. But we know Patrick Mahomes can handle it. We know Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid can handle it. Like, we know those things without a shadow of doubt. Without a shadow of doubt. We don't have a shadow of doubt for the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. We just don't. We can believe it, right? But we don't know 100%. We don't have the courage of that conviction. So to me, the biggest argument is the Chiefs can win if the Ravens start to feel the pressure and crush a little bit. They start dropping passes, right? What happens if Lamar throws a perfect pass and then his receivers drop a pass? And now it's like, what happened to Lamar in that moment? Does he get antsy and go, oh my God, what are we doing? It's a 17-14 game. Like, we needed that. We needed that field goal to at least tie it. What happens there? Because again, in that moment, we know what Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid does, but we don't know what the Ravens do. So to me, that's really the only argument. I think the only way the Chiefs can win this game is if the Ravens lose this game. The Chiefs cannot win this game when the Ravens are playing their best. It's that cut and dry for me. And so I 100% believe that the Ravens will win this game. That's not to say that they will, but it is what I 100% believe. I'm not leaving myself an out in that regard. The only way that the Chiefs will win this game, outside of these random injuries that happen, right? Lamar Jackson's hobbled, Flowers, dislocates a finger in the middle of the game, something like that. Or one of those ridiculous plays where it's a punt return and it hits, the back of the leg of someone else and now they get to run it for a touchdown or something, right? When those flukes, things like that happen, I just don't count it. I really don't. I mean, obviously the other team still wins and the other team still loses, but it's like, to me, that's when predictions get thrown out the window. Look no further for gamblers. That's how they either make all their money or lose all their money. So those things are just impossible to predict. But what do you all think? Who do you think is going to officially win this game and why? And do you think that the Chiefs can actually win without a big game from Mahomes? To me, that's the most bonkers question ever, because without a doubt, no, they cannot. But I want to hear what you have to think. So let me know in the comments below. And please don't forget to subscribe. As I said, we are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really helps with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.